Hello and welcome to another episode of The Near Fall. I am your host, Nick Whitwer. It is Thursday, so joining us, of course, is Ben Newhouse. Ben, it's me and you running the show again. Two weeks in a row, huh?
2 weeks in a row, yeah. You're stuck with these two lovely faces.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Gonna have some fun. Talk some wrestling. You ready?
Yeah, we're going to talk some wrestling. We got some AEW stuff to go over, some Raw stuff coming up. Big match on SmackDown tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a little fun, envisioning a little WWE, AEW wrestling type playoffs in honor of the NFL playoffs about to start. So let's get right into it with Dynamite last night. Another pretty decent show. This one, I mean, we talked earlier this morning when you got in. Wasn't necessarily anything that really stood out last night. I mean, obviously the Lights Out match was unsanctioned and did its normal stuff. But you had said that nothing really was over exciting. Like you had to talk about it the next day kind of thing.
It was kind of the first Dynamite in a couple weeks that really kind of felt underwhelming. And like you touched on, it was a solid show from start to finish, right? Nothing like that I'm like complaining about, but really not a moment or a match where it was like, this is it. This is what we're talking about in the morning. This is what got me excited, right? There wasn't that like moment. You had some small things, right? You know, you had Jake something, now known as Jake Doyle, coming over from TNA. Andrade's back now officially. So there was some moments that were there, but nothing
and then
that really.
The first thing they started the show, they brought Jim Ross is back. JR's back on commentary, so that was kind of cool to get to hear him again.
It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I don't know if that's just going to be a one-time thing or if he's going to, he wasn't always like full-time commentary, so maybe he'll make some more appearances.
I could see that being a one-time thing.
Yeah.
But it'd be really cool if it's not. It'd be really cool to have him weekly. I don't know what the plan is.
Just a classic voice, especially. It's just nice having him back after some very serious real life health situations. So it was good to have his golden voice. I'm sure he likes
being back. There was a little bit of a report, and you could kind of hear it during the match that he didn't necessarily like, and we'll get into it a little more when we talk about the match itself. But towards the end of the Lights Out match, I guess Hangman and Swerve were taking too long, and JR was like pretty audibly annoyed.
Really? I'll have to listen to that back.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but you could he just had this like, and it seemed pretty genuine, not like a character thing. Like he was just annoyed that they were like, I don't remember. I had it on. I swear I watched it. I did have it on, and I don't remember the exact moment, but right before the end, they were like really taking their time to get to the end and get the revenge. And he was.
He can be very blunt with some of those little comments. So,
moving on, after Jim Ross came out, Moxley and Shelton kicked off the show. 20-minute time limit for a eliminator match. Pretty solid match. It started with, Shelton wanted to shake hands at the beginning. Moxley, as his character gives, kind of hit his hand away.
Yeah.
But the match itself, I thought was pretty good, right?
Match itself was good. I think going in, it's another one of those things where you expect a little bit more. Shelton doesn't get a whole lot of single opportunities, so you kind of, as a fan, want to see that, a little more of a thrilling match, a little more high speed. But it did come down to the final seconds. So Mox got the pin with 5 seconds remaining. If it were to be a draw, that would have granted Shelton a championship match. So it did have the thrilling ending, right? And you also kind of saw Mox's his part of his face turn, right? Reaching out for the handshake. That's not something
that
he
was
kind
of after the match, given that little handshake. So, I mean, that just goes right in line with after he won the C2 tournament and what his kind of promo was that, hey, love wrestling, love this. And it's a big change from where we were a year ago with him as a character.
Right. Yeah. Uplifting his opponents rather than after the match, him and all the Death Riders tear him down, So that is a key part in what's going to go forward.
Interesting to note, and we'll get to more of Death Riders later, but he was not with them.
That's
and
true.
None of the Death Riders were out there with him. Now, Maria Shafir did give him a little pregame slaps or whatnot before he went in. But he wasn't out there with the rest of the Death Riders later, and they clearly weren't with him during the match. So it's interesting to see if the heel group is going to, and how they react to their leader kind of going more of a face route.
Right. And is that just, how they're going to play it storyline wise, or will it play into the breakup of the Death Riders?
I hope it's just how they play it storyline wise, since my bold prediction last week when we did this was that they aren't going to break up. So I'd like to be right about one of these things.
Yeah, and even in that Tony and Shafir matchup, you know, we had Wheeler interfering, pulling the ref out. There was still high levels of
Death
heel
Riders
antics.
Still being heels.
Yeah.
We can go right into that match too. Tony wins by DQ after Yuta pulls the ref.
Yep.
Orange Cassidy and Roderick kind of come out and chases them off. It was kind of weird to see Claudio come out and want to get back in, and they held him back.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what happens with Claudio, because they had the numbers advantage. Why didn't they just attack? So that was kind of weird to me a little bit.
Yeah, Claudio came out late too. He wasn't ringside,
yeah,
right?
He wasn't there right away.
Scuffle
he came
happened
later, and then was trying to get in and fight, and Garcia and Yuta held him back.
Yeah.
Just an interesting note. It'll be interesting to see what they do towards Moxley going forward. It could be a thing where maybe they do what they teased with the Judgment Day in WWE, where you see like almost a split down the middle, and you have Moxley and Claudio together, because Claudio almost seems kind of in that face-ish range. You could make him that if you wanted to. And then Yuta, Garcia, and Pac are your bad guys.
And it's also, and speaking of that, it's also kind of naturally splitting it down between, you know, the veterans and the young, hungry dudes.
Which would make a lot of sense. That's a whole nother angle you can take with that.
Yeah, right. And even still going on in that Shafir match, they're really, you know, she didn't take the pin. She didn't take the loss. She might get super elevated soon. She heavily featured on Dynamite now. She just had a couple singles matches in a row.
It's always interesting when they take these, like WWE does it a lot, just because I feel like they have a lot more of these manager characters.
Yeah.
Like a Maxine Dupree, a Maria Schiffer, and they turn them into single stars. I mean, they almost tried with Scarlett and Karrion Kross. It just didn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's always interesting to see how they do when they're finally out of that manager role.
Right, and don't have that security blanket anymore, right? It's a relatively easy way to like elevate that type of, you know, get exposure, then get into the matches, and then, you know, get higher up in the card.
All right, moving on to our next match in AEW. Jack Perry and the Young Bucks. It wasn't supposed to be them. It was supposed to be Jack Perry and Speedball.
Yep, Jet Speed.
Or Jet Speed. The man takes them out backstage. We think the man does it. They didn't admit it.
They kind of admitted it.
They kind of did. But, versus Ricochet. They did win the match, but then there was a bunch of post-match attacks. And you said the debut of Mark Davis and the newly known as Jack Doyle came out. Andrade's back.
Andrade came up, showed up in the mask, took it off. Then we had FTR staying up top of the ring.
Stokely in that wheelchair, man. Something about seeing him in the wheelchair just made me laugh. It shouldn't, but it did.
Yeah, I think on Collision they had Tony Schiavone read a note from Big Stoke, and it was funny. But yeah, a lot going on in that match. A lot of interesting to where they take it, because it looked like they were setting up Mark Davis and Jack Doyle.
I think it's. Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch, but I'm not.
But it looks like they're setting up them as a tag team. Should be a really strong tag team.
Yeah, but then that's interesting because you have them, you have FTR, you have the Young Bucks, you have the Demand. And the Demand is sort of a part of the Don Callis family now.
Yeah, it's kind
of. Then you have Speedball or Jet Speed. What I think is going to happen is they basically just took Brodito out of it and replaced him with this new signing tag team, and you're going to get these 4-way tag team matches.
Yeah,
which we saw a lot of last year.
Yeah, it's possible it leads to a
doesn't
tournament.
Mean it's a bad thing, but it, we've kind of seen that.
Yeah. I would lean more towards. I would like to see it like a tag team #1 contender tournament or something like along those lines. But yeah.
Right, and then not much else. Darby kind of attacked Pac to try to force a match with him. Bandito beat Sammy Guevara. MJF came out and kind of did the usual, I'm going to beat you. Made some comments about the ring, took the ring. But then the main event, the Lights Out match, Hangman and Swerve versus Hobbs and the Hook. The good guys got the win. The predictable attacks from the Ops Dojo members. and then ends with the what's become, you've said, has become pretty much a moniker, a signature of Hangman Adam Page and the hanging.
Yep. Yeah.
Some light issues.
Yeah,
at
the beginning was
again,
weird.
but
Like they've had the lights out matches before, right? Where the lights go down and there's like big spotlights. But it started out the lights flickered, which I think was planned, and then it went super dark and was odd, and it kind of the crowd went quiet, and I don't think the visibility was there.
yeah.
Lights went back on, the match went on. It was a solid match. Yeah, like you touched on the Hangman, you know, it's almost becoming a staple, right? He's called the Hangman.
It makes sense.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I kind of said earlier we talked off camera, which we do a lot. We talk off camera a ton. I'd say that at first, I didn't really like the whole hanging thing. It made sense when it was Moxley, and it was like, oh, any way to win that you can. And they were kind of like trying to suffocate guys too with like the bag on Darby and stuff like that. But yeah, I like it now. It makes sense to me. Let it be his little signature thing. I don't know if you need to do that every single time.
Right.
But
it needs to be a special thing.
Yeah.
It can't be every match. It can't be just
like, I don't think you need to do that. The hook. Maybe if you replace it with Powerhouse Hobbs because he's a bigger guy, it would be a little bit. You didn't need to choke out Hook to win.
Right.
Like, I feel like you could have just beaten Hook.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from with that one too.
Interesting to see where that goes along with Joe. We still have Omega wanting MJF's title, which we assume Bandito won't beat him for next week. Or
I would assume so. Bandito's great, but taking the belt off MJF this soon, no, and I don't think Bandito's going to be the guy.
Changes on who you think faces him legitimately for the title next?
Who did I say last? I think I said.
I don't remember.
I think I said Omega.
I think I went Joe, and I think I'm gonna switch over to Omega because I think Joe's gonna be doing more stuff with Hangman and Swerve.
Yeah. See, I could see now. I'm almost leaning where we're gonna get a lot of regular Omega matches where he's gonna build up to be that number one contender and not instantly get the shot. So I might actually shy away from Omega being that first legitimate challenger, and I think I might switch to Samoa Joe. So I think we're switching. I mean, I could see it.
Well, that means one of us is half right then.
Yeah, I could see an instant program with like Omega, but with like a slow build type of thing. But I think Omega will have to earn his shot and become number one contender.
All right, well, we'll have to see what happens. We will take a quick break, and when we get back, we're talking some WWE.
Yes.
And welcome back to the Near Fall here on WFRV Plus. Just wrapped up our AEW stuff from Dynamite last night. Talking some WWE now. We do have Ben with us, of course, because it is Thursday. It's Ben and I. Devin is out partying in Vegas.
He's in Las Vegas.
The site of WrestleMania, whatever number we're on now.
Yeah, he's just scoping out the area.
Yeah, he's getting us those early press tickets,
Yeah, hopefully.
But yeah, let's talk some WWE stuff. Raw, Stranger Things is the first we're getting to really talk to you about kind of how you feel things went. Not a ton of Stranger Things tie-in. They did this cool thing where they like twisted the screen.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it was kind of whatever.
Yeah, that's
as far as crossover went.
Yeah, I mean, that big of a crossover, relatively new on Netflix, it felt like it could have been a lot more to it. As far as what that could have been, I don't have a lot of crazy ideas.
Yeah, I don't.
Some match types, some more cool decorations, make it look like the Upside Down or something.
The thing everyone complained about not having was Finn Balor's the Demon. It felt like that character would have made sense to make an appearance.
Gosh, when was the last time he was the Demon?
I don't know.
It's been a while.
Might have been NXT or no, he did something against Bray not that long. I'd say not that long ago, but it was years ago.
Yeah.
And that's another character. Like if Bray was alive, like bringing out the Fiend would have been. And I don't think the Wyatt Six were on this because they're a SmackDown group.
Yeah.
But having them appear for this would have been
right.
Like it just made too much sense to have characters like that on there. Anyway, new champions, a couple new championship changes, some promos, possible vacate title coming. We'll start with the new tag team champions, women's tag team. Rhea and Io defeated the Kabuki Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
This is a title that's just going to bounce around until WrestleMania, I imagine. This entire WrestleMania season, it's just
Yeah, that's kind of the feel to it, right? Yeah, I mean, overall, the Raw was good, right? I mean, title changes, good matches. Rio and Io become champion.
Yeah.
You know, you can't argue with that. I didn't have any complaints about that match.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Gunther promo, confronted by AJ Styles. We think maybe he might retire AJ Styles later in the year.
He's going to retire Cena and Styles.
I think he's going to start retiring a bunch of guys. I think
Maybe.
that's going to be his thing. It's going to be similar to Randy Orton's Legend Killer.
Yeah. I mean, I like that spot for Styles. I like that. I like it as a little...
I don't think this is going to be the last match these two have together is what I mean by that.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see. He'll probably cheat or a DQ finish or something on this one for Gunther. And then it'll lead to other stuff. But we'll see. Usos came out, basically said, oh, we're going to step to everybody in 2026, or everybody that wants to step to us, go ahead.
Yeah.
Kind of lead down challenges tag teams.
Is there a challenger that you think is the front runner there?
That's maybe Judgment Day right away to
get
them the titles back. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think of who's on Raw. Nothing at this moment coming to the top of my head. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee are clearly going to be split.
Right.
So it's probably my money would be on Judgment Day. New Day would be there. They could revisit that rivalry a little bit.
Yeah.
Or the Viking Raiders or War Raider, whichever they're going by now. But they could obviously be an option too. IC title change for the women. Becky Lynch regained the title from Maxine Dupree. Nothing crazy there.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of a spotty finish where she kind of cheated. So I don't know if that means they're going to run it back again for the fourth time.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, was that predictable for you, Becky winning?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think this starts to set up more of what they really want, which is Becky versus AJ Lee at WrestleMania for the title.
Okay.
Look, WrestleMania only a couple months out. They've made these stories go longer than that before. So it's not like we're getting to that point of the year where it is starting to be WrestleMania season.
Right at Rumble.
Right,
it begins at
Rumble.
Rumble.
The end of this month.
So yeah, you have that whole span in between Rumble where it's WrestleMania storyline. Here we go.
And even leading in the Rumble, you start going, well, I wonder what the story. Because last year we were like, okay, well, we know what it's going to be. Jay's going to win, and then it's going to be Gunther and Jay.
Yeah.
So it's not crazy to start looking at WrestleMania matchups right now,
right?
Because we're getting to the edge of that beginning season. Thoughts on Becky Lynch and AJ Lee? Anything? I mean, we've kind of seen it, but they didn't really get a payoff because it was a mixed tag match.
I think that's a fine match, right? I mean, obviously you have time in between now and then if that were to happen, and I would want to see a lot more of AJ Lee. If it's just kind of like a few matches in between and then boom, it needs that build. We need ring presence from AJ Lee more in between now and then. But I'd be for that.
Yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. It makes sense. It'll draw the two names, probably two of the bigger names on the women's side of things. So it'll draw some eyes to the match. Stephanie Vakir gave a promo. She came out injured, got attacked. Raquel kind of took a chair to her injured leg and then attacked her again backstage. I think this is going to lead to a vacated title. That just seems to be where we are. I don't know if she's actually hurt or if she's got just time off or whatever. I know her championship reign hasn't necessarily been the greatest in the eyes of many, but maybe this is Liv's chance to get the title before the Rumble. I don't really know who gets this if they do vacate it.
Yeah, I think Liv's a good option. I don't know. I don't know either. Like vacating titles are a little odd. I mean, it can go any way, right? Yeah, but
if
it's
you do
determining,
it right,
it's determining who the next.
They could do a tournament. I mean, there's been a lot of tournaments lately.
Yeah.
When we're going to talk about more tournaments in our last segment, sort of. I think.
Right.
If I have the right idea, I think we're talking about tournaments later too.
Yeah.
So a lot of tournaments in wrestling lately, and then the main event, the match that was probably the highest advertised. Breaker, CM Punk, WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Punk retains, and the biggest notes from this match was how messy it was. Almost like Breaker was just moving so fast that old man Punk, I don't want to say couldn't keep up, but I think Breakker, he's got so much energy, and it almost hurts him to have that much energy.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of unique moves that Frankensteiner, right? I mean, these are pretty difficult moves to pull off.
And I'm not even sure he really was going for the Frankensteiner there.
Yeah.
Because he does that taunt, and then I think he slips when he does that taunt, and then he just tried to make it look like something.
Okay.
Punk looks like he tries to catch him.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously concerned he's going to break his neck. Like,
yeah. I mean, I thought it was a good match. I wouldn't say great or anything like that. We came in and you told me it was a little sloppy. And
a little sloppy.
Yeah.
But
I thought it wasn't as bad as maybe people are saying about it. I liked the interference was pretty decent where you had the Vision come out and then you had the good guys save the day.
I said that I don't think you needed that, but I understand why you do it because you're still trying to build those other stories.
And it still led to a clean win. So, you have shenanigans in there, but it's still wrapped up nicely.
All right, we got one more match we have to highlight. It was like the main thing from SmackDown to talk, or the previewing tomorrow's SmackDown before we hit our final break. Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, 3 stages of blank. Standard match, Falls Count Anywhere, old school cage match. Is that how you would have booked that? And who do you think wins?
Not how I would have booked it. I'm fine with Falls Count Anywhere, right? We and you talked. I'm fine with the cage. The normal match, get that out of here. You don't need it. Put in an I Quit, put in a tables match, put in something.
When we talked last week, I said those two need to be bumped up. Do the Falls Count Anywhere, say I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Do the steel cage. Now you can't get away from me if you survive, and then do an I Quit or a last man standing match.
Yeah.
Something that has that definitive ending.
Yeah. And then it's the order of it too, like you just said. My thing with the steel cage match, right? Drew emphasized like the old school style thing, right? So
I think it's going to be a blue cage, is what I imagine.
I
right?
hope so.
Old school blue cage, and you have to escape the win.
Right. And not through a door. Climb out.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope
that's what it is.
It's climb out to the top of the cage is the only way to win. No pins, no submissions, no
wins?
door. Drew better win.
I think Drew wins. I think it's now that doesn't mean he'll have the belt at WrestleMania, but I think he wins this one. And Cody might get it back later. We'll see. There is a Saturday night main event before Royal Rumble, which is important to note. So matches that they aren't going to put on the Rumble card because they only want 4 matches per pay-per-view for some reason will probably be on that Saturday night main event the week before.
Yeah, and especially with 2 Rumbles. So, you're going to have the 2 Rumbles match and maybe only one.
And that's what Devin and I talked about Tuesday was probably 2 matches. So that having that other pay-per-view probably helps them a little bit. That is all we got for right now. We have one more segment coming up that'll be a little fun. We're looking at some playoff stuff.
Yeah.
Stay with us. And welcome back to the Near Fall here on WFRB Plus. It's me and Ben. We're going to do something fun now. NFL playoffs start this weekend. WWE doesn't really have a playoffs. It's got a Super Bowl with WrestleMania. AEW has their own big pay-per-view too.
Yeah.
If there was a playoff system in wrestling, what would yours look like?
What would mine look like?
AEW versus WWE, just AEW, just W. However you feel you want to do this.
I think in an ideal scenario, right? As much as I may have said in the past where I would like to see a WWE AEW feud, it'd be cool to have, one side of the bracket AEW, the other side WWE, and then in the championship match, one representing each company.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how I set mine up. As far
what are your qualifications to get into that tournament?
Yeah. So I would have auto bids, right? Are obvious.
And how big is your tournament on each side?
I didn't really think of that. Let's go with like 16 each side. So I would do automatic bids would be current champions.
Okay. Yep. We're on the same wavelength here.
And I would rank the titles. So you obviously have world champion number 1. And then in AEW, you could do like the Continental Champion be the 2 seed. The TNT Champion be the 4 seed. You have the International, so on, so down the line. So those 4, 5 people, automatic bids, top seeds guaranteed. Next would be the middle of the pack, right? And so I would do AEW keeps track of record. So I would
Okay.
go off of, you're going to get roughly, so you had 5 at the top, you'll have roughly 10 on the bottom or in the middle.
Yeah.
So those ones, I wouldn't have them in qualifying matches, but
Okay.
the matches would determine the seeding. So I would do like group stage, similar to like the C2 in AEW or like World Cup.
Mm.
And so you get put in groups, winner of that group gets the highest seed. Or if you have, like, let's say you have like 3 or 4 groups, winner of those groups face in a 3-way or 4-way, and then that would get the higher seed.
So I think we're on the same wavelength here, because here's what I was thinking. So WWE used to do power rankings, and I'm basing mine off of, it'll be just WWE, and they can do this for men and women. I'm basing these playoffs off the college playoff format. So you have your top 25 throughout the year, and that changes based off of winning matches, losing. However, it's WWE. They can make it up more than what the college football already does. Oops. But yeah, so you base it off of that. You have your 4 automatic qualifying bids, which is your 4 singles champions, your 2 world titles, your Intercontinental, and your US. And that applies now to both men and women. They are your 4 automatic bids for those buys. You have 2 matches, that 2 guys that get in through a qualifying match. Like, they could be your surprise, like your Tulsa and your James Madison, which would, you could have them either. This would be through the month of December would be my playoffs in WWE. So you would end the year with the best champion or best wrestler of the year, and they get like some sort of ring or championship that doesn't get defended. Just a prize each year gets given to the winner.
Okay.
Like a Super Bowl trophy, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe the Elimination Chamber match is one that could get you an automatic bid.
Sure.
I mean, you just have
so
to change
throughout the
around
year,
when you
there's
do.
automatic bids.
So throughout the year, there could
I
be
like
1 or
that.
2 automatic bids where some surprise person could win it, and then they can highlight that all year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go based off the rankings and the power rankings to fill out the rest of them. So you could get someone like Miz, who just did his he just aired out all of his grievances of him not being in the John Cena thing. You could have someone like him or a heel sit there and talk about how they got screwed out of a playoff spot and how they should have been in. So that does that thing. So that's how I would set that up, would just be similar to college.
Okay.
And the way they do it with those automatic bids. Winning wise, the Roman Reigns probably wins the first one or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my theory on that.
I like that. I like that, especially like, you know, major events throughout the year.
Yeah.
You get into the. Yeah, I like that idea. So you said the winner just gets a trophy.
The winner gets some sort of like memorable item.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes the most sense. Instead of a title to defend all the time, like the C2 does.
Yeah.
You get some sort of just memorable item to go in your trophy case.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all we got. That's the WWE AEW playoffs if they had one. Until next time, keep your shoulders off the mat. This has been the Near Fall on WFRV Plus.